First, do no harm, reads the Hippocratic Oath. But in their zeal to protect public health through lockdowns and other edicts, critics say many public health officials appear unresponsive to other harms they may be causing. On Monday, the Centers for Disease Control announced an extension of the federal eviction moratorium through June 30th. Director Rochelle Walensky said, quote, preventing evictions is a key step in helping stop the spread of COVID-19. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and the Federal Trade Commission followed up, calling unacceptable reports that major multi-state landlords are forcing people out of their homes despite the government prohibitions. While acknowledging the plight of tenants, many local, state, and federal government agencies appear dismissive of the plight of small-time landlords, like Rich Tyson of Rochester, New York.
My property tax liability per year is approximately $58,000. I've lost more than that year to date from tenants not affected by COVID, but who have simply chosen not to pay rent. I've lost a little over $60,000 this year in essentially rents that are never going to get recouped.
Tyson wrote Governor Cuomo and received a terse response from a state agency, quote, New York State is not currently offering a payment assistance program for property or school tax bills due to the pandemic. The enactment of such programs would require legislative action to provide funding. I hope you find this information to be of assistance. Clarence is another landlord. He rents out a house he owns in Brooklyn, New York. The renters haven't paid for 15 months. He's lost $40,000.
I'm not going to hide anything. I'm going to be upfront and honest. I've exhausted all of my savings. I am responsible for providing heat, hot water, insurance, gas, and maintenance, even though I have tenants who just don't pay.
In many jurisdictions, Washington, D.C. is one example, local eviction moratoriums extend well beyond the federal moratorium, allowing non-payment for any reason, with often predictable results.
You had a landlord thrown down the stairs by squatters?
That's not even the worst of it. We've had situations where individuals with guns, individuals shootings. There's tenants who've thrown blood on the wall, all kind of undescribable things. People cannot be evicted who are terrorizing communities. I mean, they're literally terrorizing tenants and property owners. The D.C. Council just totally overreacted. The D.C. moratorium doesn't even expire until 60 days after the federal emergency.
The federal eviction moratorium began under President Trump, but he was apparently wary of its downside should it and other government restrictions carry on too long.
Ultimately, the goal is to ease the guidelines and open things up to very large sections of our country as we near the end of our historic battle with the invisible enemy. I hope we can do this by Easter.
That was Easter of a year ago. Under a new administration, the urgency to return to normal appears more cautious, sometimes even fearful.
And I'm going to reflect on the recurring feeling I have of impending doom. We have so much to look forward to, so much promise and potential of where we are, and so much reason for hope. But right now, I'm scared.
That sentiment, along with the extension of the eviction moratorium, sends a wildly mixed signal, given the CDC's own study, which found, and I quote, household transmission of SARS-CoV-2 is common, apparently even if you're not paying rent in the household where you live. Doug McKelway for the Washington Examiner.